Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. I'm Zoe with True Crime Stories, real crime, real people, and real horror. Today's story is one that shook Beverly Hills and the entire country. It's a case that's blur the line between family tragedy and cold-blooded murder. A story that asks whether monsters are born or made. This is the story of Lyle and Eric Menendez, two brothers from privilege whose lives took a dark and violent turn. Grab your headphones because this one's going to take us deep into the heart of luxury, secrets, and betrayal. The night of the murderers. It's August 20th, 1989. The Menendez family home sits on Elm Drive in Beverly Hills. An enormous Mediterranean-style mansion worth millions. Jose and Kitty Menendez are spending the evening in the den, relaxing and watching a movie. Jose, a Cuban-American entertainment executive, was known for being strict and controlling. Kitty, his wife, had once been a beauty queen, but in later years she struggled with addiction and depression. To outsiders, they were the perfect family. But inside that house, something was breaking just before midnight. Gunfire shattered the quiet. 6 shots hit Jose, one straight to the back of his head. Kitty tried to run, but she was hit again and again. The final blast was so close, it almost execution style. Neighbors later said that they thought the noise was fireworks. But when police arrived, they found Lyle and Eric outside the house, crying and shouting that someone had killed their parents. They told officers they'd just come home from seeing a movie. They looked like shocked, heartbroken sons, and for a while, that's exactly what people believed. In the days after the murders, the brothers played the part of grieving sons. They held funerals, gave statements, and appeared devastated. But then their behavior started to change. They started spending money, a lot of it. In just a few months, they buried through over $700,000. Lyle bought a Porsche, designer clothes, even a restaurant in Princeton. Eric, the younger one, traveled abroad, hired a tennis coach, and splurged on luxury items. Detectives started to wonder where they're mourning their parents or celebrating their freedom. Still, there was no solid evidence, no murder weapon, no witnesses. The investigation stalled until a secret confession cracked the case wide open. Eric Menendez had been struggling with guilt, so he confided in his therapist, Dr. Jerome Ozito. During one of those sessions, Eric broke down and admitted everything. He described in detail how he and his brother had planned and carried out the murders. But here's the twist. The therapist's mistress found out. She feared for her safety and went to the police, handing over the taped confession. That was the break the investigators had been waiting for. In March of 1990, The brothers were arrested. Prosecutors said that the motive was money. They killed their parents for $14 million inheritance. But when the defense took the stage, they told a completely different story. The Menendez trials became one of the first courtroom dramas to be broadcast live. America couldn't look away. Two young men from Beverly Hills, dressed in suits, telling the world they killed their parents. But not out of greed, out of fear. Their defense attorney, Leslie Abramson, painted a heartbreaking picture. She said that Jose was an abusive father who ruled through control and intimidation, and that both brothers suffered years of emotional and physical and sexual abuse. They claimed they believed their parents were going to kill them, and that the shootings were acts of self-defense. The court was divided. Some saw trauma victims lashing out after years of pain. Others saw spoiled kids spinning a story to save themselves. The first trial ended with 2 hung juries. No verdict. The country was split down the middle. When the retrial began, things changed. The judge ruled the defense could not use the abuse claims to justify the murders. Without the emotional core, the case became black and white. Cold-blooded murder for money. After 5 days of deliberation, the jury found both Lyle and Eric guilty of first-degree murder. In 1996, they were sentenced to life in prison without parole. They were separated for more than 20 years, until 2018, when they were reunited at the same California correctional faculty. And when they saw each other again, they hugged for a full minute, crying for all their crimes and controversy. That moment reminded people that, at the end of it all, they were still brothers. In prison, both brothers have tried to rebuild their lives in small ways. Lyle has been married twice, both times to women who reached out after seeing him on TV. Eric also married and spends his time monitoring younger inmates and working on self-improvement programs. Over the years, public opinion has started to shift again on TikTok, YouTube, and documentaries. Younger generations are revisiting the case. Many are asking, were they victims of abuse, failed by the system, or murderers who use trauma as an excuse? Shows like Law and Order, True Crime, and Menendez plus Menudo keep their story alive, decades later, reminding us that the truth, even when known, can still feel uncertain. So what's the legacy of the Menendez case? Was it about privilege and greed, or about pain, fear, and survival? Maybe both. The Menendez brothers became symbols of everything America wanted to debate: money, power, abuse, justice, and the blurry line between them all. One night in August 1989 destroyed a family and left a nation questioning what really goes on behind closed doors. Even now, more than 30 years later, the story still haunts us. Maybe because it forces us to look at the something uncomfortable, that even in the most beautiful homes, darkness can live quietly. waiting to be seen. Thanks for listening to today's episode. The Menendez Brothers, Murder, Money, and Beverly Hills Secrets. If you enjoyed this story, follow the show and share it with a friend who loves true crime. I'm Zoe, and this has been another look into a darker side of real life, where truth is stranger and darker than fiction. See you next time.